Thanks for watching one more time, the only podcast that matters. My name is Juanso, and I'm your host.
And I'm your other host. Wait for it, Jean-Paul Leek.
And we are who we are, who we are, who we are.
We're Rope Break.
Rope Break! How's every single one of you, family? Thank you so very much for being with us one more time. And today we're bringing previews and predictions for probably, so far in paper, the best pay-per-view of 2020. The car is really stacked. We're all hyped up. We're all excited, as you can see, because NXT Takeover Portland is going to take place tomorrow on the WWE Network at 7 o'clock. There you go, WWE. So we're here to discuss every single match, the build-up for these matches, and the possible outcomes. And we want to say thank you once again to every single one that is watching, new subscribers, old subscribers. Thank you for the support. You can see in our beautiful template there, you can see our social media. So, Jean-Paul, are we not excited for this?
Yeah, I mean, it's an NXT pay-per-view, so I don't know how you can't be excited. Like I said, you must be dead. You mustn't have blood going through your veins. You must hate pro wrestling if you're not excited about this show. And like we said, this is the best-looking pay-per-view for us. I mean, now you'll probably have some marks out there that's like, oh, Wrestle Kingdom was better, but it's like for a 2.5, 3-hour show for a one day, nothing's better than an NXT takeover. And I'm sure, the future takeovers will probably say the same shit. We'll probably be like, this looks like the best show on paper, but even judging from past takeovers, there's not a single person on any of these matches that isn't a main event talent. Even Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox, they're not main event as like where they're positioned on the roster, but in the ring, they're both super talented. So there's no way that that's in every match. You got in the tag team match, you have two main event guys, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, in a tag team. They could be in the main event. They could have a singles match in the main event, and it would be worthy of it. So that's and Dijakovic, Keith Lee, Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano. All these guys are in main event. They're main event caliber, and that's what every single match has. So there's no way that this show is going to disappoint.
And that's what I want to also reiterate is that every single takeover people say this is the best car ever, this is the best car ever, but in this case I feel that those definitions are completely true, because every single match makes total sense, and that's one of the things that Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Jeff Jarrett, whoever is on that creative team, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They just know what they're doing. They know how to get everybody excited. And I'm pretty sure that tomorrow we're all going to, when everything's all said and done, we're going to have a smile on our faces, because this show is going to do anything and only he's going to deliver.
Yeah, there's one thing about this show. There's only one thing that I'm worried about, and not even really worried, but I feel like this could be the black cloud or the little mold spot, on this show. And I only have one word. Woo!
Oh, okay.
That's the only. Charlotte could screw up this whole thing, and because just how she is, because the NXT is a different vibe. You know it, watching it. I know it. The main roster and mixing NXT is sometimes it's like oil and water. They don't mix. And then you have Charlotte. She comes down, and it's like she's trying. The fans were like, "Welcome back," and this and that, but she doesn't fit that NXT style. So seeing that, if depending how much she interferes with the match, it could ruin it, but other than that, man, this is going to be a fantastic show.
Exactly. We will see. There might be some debuts. Now we're going to discuss all of that. We're going to take all the time to dissect every match per match, to mention all of this.
And one thing, because you said about news, before we get into the first match, and I'm sure we'll see it here, I was reading some news and some rumors, and the one thing I saw is they have been telling Triple H, I mean, he's probably one of the who's telling them, but he got the okay, and they're telling all these NXT guys, go out there and really lay it in. Be as physical as you want. Really put on a show, make it look legit. And that they're not just saying it for Portland. They're saying every week. They're not saying to kill themselves, but if they want to, do it.
Be stiffer. Pretty much what
they're saying be as legit as you want. You don't gotta make it look fake for TV, because they know it. This is a war. And their ratings, they were down 2% this week, but AEW was down 12%. So, I mean, both were down, but AEW was down 10% more.
And despite though, AEW still won
Yeah,
them.
they still won. Yeah.
Still won, but like you said, that both of them were down. And I mean, I think that like this brings me to the fact that like to be a professional wrestling fan, you have to have a lot of time in hand. And
Mm-hmm.
we're not calling ourselves lazy because we do this. We have regular jobs
Yeah, we
also,
have.
but
Yeah, well, if I'm going to shoot, we have full time 40 hour a week jobs. So
yeah, so it's not that like we don't do anything. Unlike other, members in the community, but we're not gonna mention any single one of them. But I will say that you need to like really keep up with things. And that's, one week maybe you have something going on, and the other thing you have time to watch the shows because hey, there's so much wrestling to watch. We can just mention this that we have Monday Night Raw on Monday, Tuesday there's Impact, Wednesday AEW and NXT. Then you have on Are You Ready for Some Bullshit on Fridays, of
yeah.
course. And then when there's pay-per-views, and some people go to the extent to watch NXT UK and also New Japan. So you have like
Yeah.
your plate is completely
And then
full
there's
when it
stuff,
comes to professional wrestling.
there's YouTube, there's AEW Dark, NWA, that's another 2.5 hours worth of wrestling, and that's on YouTube. So there's just like you said, there's so much stuff. It's hard to keep up with it all. So some weeks you have to pick and choose. And I feel with NXT's case, it was a go home show, and like we even said in our review, it was a good show. There was a little bit of story progression, but everything was really set up. It was just, oh, Adam Cole got a win against Kushida. He looked good. Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong. That was really the only main thing storyline wise that happened. So
Yeah,
it was a show that if you missed it, it wasn't a big deal. So I can understand NXT, because it's leading into a pay per view. That's all
and
the
that's the
people
one
care
thing. For example, like you're saying, like the matches are already determined.
about.
Everything's laid out for you. You know what the matches are going to be. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, if I don't watch this, I'm not really going to miss anything because I know what's going to happen on
Yeah.
Takeover.
Yeah, it wasn't like they said, "Oh, Charlotte Flair will be here again," and then maybe that would have brought more eyes or anything. So, but like I
Exactly.
said, it's we're still excited. It's still a great show, and
We're ready to
yep.
dissect. So
Let's
Jean
get
Paul,
into it.
let's start from the beginning, like we always do. So
Mm-hmm.
first match is a match that is based on like a friendship. Jean Paul and Juan, they were like nail and dirt,
Mm-hmm.
like that close. And that's Dakota Kai against Tegan Knox, and they, of course, they have to hype it up. They have to put it a notch up. Street fight. So Jean
And
Paul,
this
your thoughts on this?
and this is one of the matches. Like, and I'm gonna keep doing it. I'll always do it. Shitting on Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin. Their feud. It was not organic. Nobody cared about it, and because they had to drag it on for months, it's still going on. They needed to just add stipulation after stipulation. And sometimes when stipulations are added, it makes sense. Other times it's forced. In Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, it's forced. In this sense, it's so organic because, you had Tegan Knox, she kept attacking her with the knee, or she kept attacking Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai did with the knee brace. And, she was using that as a weapon. And then they were attacking each other after their matches. At one time, Tegan Knox, she was in the crowd, or they started fighting in the crowd. She jumped the
Yeah.
barricade. So it's really like aggressive. They like when they see each other, they just want to rip each other's head off. So a street fight stipulation makes sense. That's a reason why I like it. Like you said, this feud, it was so crazy, it was so out of hand. They have to go to a street fight to settle it.
And that's what I mean because they had the match on NXT TV. Turned
Mm-hmm.
out to be like a really quick match. Tegan gets the win, but we were not satisfied with it. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
anybody was
No.
satisfied how the outcome was. And also, we gotta like bring it back all the way to War Games. That's when the rivalry started. It
Mm-hmm.
Dakota Kai turns heel. She attacks Tegan. They were best friends. They were tagging. They were going up to like the WWE tag titles. But then she turns heel and then she injures her friend. She doesn't let her be on War Games and then she
Mm-hmm.
walks out also. And that's what starts the whole rivalry. And like NXT, like you can see how creative to the time. To slowly build it, slowly build it. They give you the match. Well, it gets like Tegan gets the win, of course, but like everybody's like, it doesn't have to end this way.
Yeah.
What can we do to take it to the next level? Take over, and you know what? The street fight. And like you said, it's not that like we see them like going at each other every single week. We just see pieces of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the crowd, like Dakota Kai is fighting somebody else, in this case Candice LeRae. Then Tegan comes out, and then they feud a little more. But this time it's going to be toys. Everything's going to be allowed. So we can imagine trash cans, candlesticks.
Yeah,
We
and,
can
and
see the
like we
bell being used.
Yeah, and like I said, in the one spot with Candice LeRae, she was going to suplex her from the outside onto the barricade or onto the floor, and she didn't. Candice LeRae blocked it, But it's like that would be a spot I would love to see. Maybe she has a table laid out, and she superplexes Tegan Nox to the outside. So like, there's all this craziness that they can do, and I feel like they're not afraid to do it because both of these
Yeah,
women are extremely legit.
and that's what, like, it's just gonna be like a really good match. I feel that, like, and this is the situation, like, Takeover gives it,
Mhm.
allows, time, and
Yeah, and
especially with the stipulation that you mentioned that goes stiffer, this is gonna be really good.
and also all these people, like, I mean, obviously everyone in NXT, I'm sure they all trust each other, but when it's two best friends wrestling, there's so much more chemistry, and they trust each other. Like, hey, let's do this crazy move. Yeah, yeah, let's do it. I trust you. I know you'll protect me. I'll protect you. You know what I mean? So it's like you can see more stuff. It's not like, oh, we never wrestled before and we're supposed to go out there in a street fight. Like, how do I know you're not going to take my head off?
Yeah, like, it's like you
So
can be a little riskier. You
yeah.
can take more, more risk, more. You can be out there because you
Mhm.
know that the other person's gonna take care of you. So I feel, Jean Paul, in my prediction for this one, I think I actually want to go with Dakota Kai.
Good.
Dakota Kai is
You're
gonna.
seeing the light. You
Dakota
see,
Kai is
yeah,
gonna. No,
good. It's
I
good.
love Tegan
We're
Knox.
railing you into the dark side.
I want Tegan to win, but I know that, like, for me, the feud is gonna carry on a little bit more. It's gonna continue a little bit.
Uh,
So Dakota Kai is gonna get the win. Something is
yeah.
gonna happen, and Dakota gets the win. Despite
Mhm.
that, the match is gonna be phenomenal.
Mhm.
I would love to see a little bit of blood. Call me old school. Call me a little weird. I've been called that before so
Oh,
many times.
even if they use fake blood, I'll be fine with. You don't gotta slice these women open because I feel like they don't do that for safety reasons, for infections, not just for the loss of blood, but for infections and this and that. And I'm fine with. But like, have it be something where, she sets up a table and then maybe a cameraman puts like a little blood packet or something somewhere, and then when she slams her head on it, she like, and then there's like a blood packet or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not like, oh, let's hand, Yuki Sakazawa fake teeth on
yeah,
AEW, and it's clear, clear shot for everybody.
yeah.
Have it be that it's like hidden and this and that, but like boom, slams her head on a table. Oh, she's cut open. So I agree. Like I would like to see blood because it adds to the legitimacy. But if it's
And it,
not
and
their real
it, and
blood,
it adds
yeah,
to the statement that you mentioned before, that it said that you got to go a little stiffer. You're
uh
gonna
huh.
go, full fledged violent here. So hopefully they do that for her. So
Mm-hmm.
your prediction, Jean Paul?
Like I said, earlier, I said you're finally seeing the way how it's supposed to be. I'm gonna go with Dakota Kai as well, but I think I could see Tegan Knox. My pick is Dakota Kai, but to me, it all depends how they're going to book the main event. Because I think whoever wins this is going to be in line for a title shot. And if Rhea wins, Rhea is clearly a baby face. So then I feel like if she wins and retains and there's no screwy business, then Dakota Kai will win because then you have a heel versus babyface, babyface champion against Dakota Kai. If something would happen, Flair would screw the match up and Bianca wins, then I could see Tegan Knox winning, and then Tegan Knox goes against Bianca for the title, and she would probably lose. I don't think they would hot potato it like that. But then because you're not going to do a heel Dakota Kai versus a heel Bianca, unless they would. But Bianca, like you and I have both discussed that she's kind of on the edge. She's like a face and a heel. She's like both. So I
She
could
can
see Bianca.
easily
Yeah,
switch from the one
yeah,
to
that's what
the
I
other.
mean. So, but I mean, I'm gonna go with Dakota Kai. But like I said, I could definitely, see this continuing. But what do you do after a street fight? It's kind of hard to have it continue after that because they're not gonna do Hell in a Cell on NXT. That's not gonna be, you know. I mean, they could,
Maybe
but I
like
doubt it.
last woman standing, they could do that. Or like
Yeah,
I quit. Although NXT UK is going for the I quit stipulation, so
yeah,
probably they will not do the same
yeah.
thing. But I would say
I would
maybe
say that this is,
last
yeah.
women standing in this case.
I would say this is most likely the blow off of it, and I'm gonna say that Dakota Kai. I'm gonna say she wins here. That's who I'm picking.
Yeah, well,
But
it
I
also
could,
will make
yeah,
sense
yeah. I
because
mean,
she,
I
like,
could see them, but like I said, I don't want to be like, oh, not giving a clear answer because I'm going with Dakota Kai. But I feel like a babyface win in this kind of feud would be, it would, you send the crowd home happy. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tegan Knox does win though.
well, like, I will say, like, the only reason that they might have all, I mean, another reason why they will just give Dakota Kai the win is because Tegan won the first match.
Hmm.
So, like, you don't want Tegan to win two matches in a row to
Yeah.
Dakota.
And also, I feel like you're gonna agree with this. It's easier if a babyface loses because then they have sympathy. If a heel loses, the heel's not gonna have sympathy. No one's
Yeah,
gonna care. They'll be like, "Oh, you're a bad guy. You lost. Good." Where
Yeah,
do
they're actually be going to be really happy when
where
it
will
comes to that.
Dakota Kai go if she loses?
Yeah,
Yes, but like if Tegan loses, she can build her way back up. But if Dakota loses as a heel, people will be like, good, and then
yeah,
it'll be done.
and then done. Yeah.
So,
So, well, the prediction for us is Dakota Kai. So we go
mhm.
once we go to the results. Tomorrow we will be comparing what this we just said, and then the next match is another match that a lot of people are waiting for. Unfortunately, didn't take place at NXT Takeover War Games because of an injury and everything. But is the guy on your shirt, Mr. Finn Balor, against Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano.
Yep. So who are you picking? Because I feel like unless the people have the video minimized, and they can't see what's going on, I think it's clear who I'm going with. So you tell
Well,
me who you're
yeah,
going with first.
I will say I want Finn Balor to win because the only reason that you can keep going with this Finn Balor character is him getting a big, 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 big win.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person that can produce that kind of reaction and that kind of outcome is Johnny Gargano.
Mm-hmm.
Because Finn Balor completely switched his character, completely went through a whole transformation, going from like smiley face, baby face, nobody cares about me, I lose to anybody. I went from like being in the game from 92 stats to like 80,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm Prince Devitt again. I have my attitude back, I have my intensity, I grow some balls again.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way that you can keep with this story is if you go over Johnny Gargano. The rivalry is pretty intense. The promos that they have with each other are really really good because they're really bringing in personal stuff. They're
Mm-hmm.
bringing like things that like we all know as a
Yeah,
community.
they're
As
like, they had
fans.
it's like a work shoot promo. He's not just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you because I'm Johnny Wrestling." He's like, "Yeah, you're that loser on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown who lost to everybody."
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
like it's good.
they're
It's
bringing those things into life, and that's cool. Like for example, oh yeah, you're always injured, or like I don't have a heart, and I'm gonna prove it to you. All of that. So the rivalry itself has generated a lot of buzz, a lot of expectation, and I feel that Finn Balor needs that big, big win once again to really be in position for the NXT Championship. Because
mm-hmm.
according to reports and everything, we know that he's gonna stay on NXT. That's
Mm-hmm.
what feels
and
comfortable.
also, yeah, like you what you're going along with. Let's say Champa wins. Okay, Champa wins. Now he's a baby face. The crowd's super behind him. What are you gonna do? Gargano and Champa right away? No. You gotta set Finn Balor up, a heel to go against the baby face Tommaso Ciampa. So to me, like he's got. That's why I'm going with him. Besides the fact of I agree with everything you said because he has all this momentum, and where does he go from here? People are used, and it's a shame because he is talented. Like I say, I'm not behind him as much as everyone else is, but people are like accustomed to seeing Johnny Gargano lose.
Yes,
Like he loses to Cien Almas, he loses to Adam Cole, he loses to, all these other people. And
Champa. Se
yeah,
loses to
like
Champa.
so it's like we're accustomed to seeing him lose, and I feel like if he beats Finn Balor, it's like, oh, okay, now what? What's Johnny Gargano gonna do?
Yeah.
And now,
So
unless Adam Cole wins and Gargano goes against Cole, but do we want to see that again? No.
no,
To me
because
the
that was
yeah,
last year. Like,
to me
you did
yeah,
enough. You're
to
already
me the fret. So that's why again, like the fresh matchup and everything else. As hot as Gargano is, Finn Balor's even hotter. He's the hot hand. You got to go with him. So that's why I agree with everything you said, and I think it's Finn Balor
yeah, it's going to be Finn Balor, but
because
match
he
quality.
doesn't miss.
Yeah, he doesn't miss. But I want to say Finn Balor and Gargano, the match prior, the match quality is going to be to the roof. It's going to
Mhm.
be very similar to Adam Cole against Johnny Gargano because both guys have the same physique, probably around the same weight and everything. They
Mhm.
have
And
this a
they
similar
said
moveset.
about going stiff. Remember that Balor and Dragunov match?
Yeah,
They're chopping the hell out of each other, and they were bleeding just from the chops and the punches and strikes. This match, they're gonna need the ice bath and the freaking Percocets after this one, man.
the
You
potential
know what
of
I'm
this
saying?
match
They're
is,
gonna be
the
fine.
roof. You could easily have this match as your main event, but of course we know that Triple H respect titles, and we all do because titles are what make wrestling interesting. Of course, the rivalry is something
Mhm.
really important, but if there's no goal behind it, goal is always like the cherry on top. So for that reason, like this match, I think that has like a lot of enough potential, I will say,
Mhm.
to be the match of the night.
Well,
But
yeah,
every single match has that kind of potential.
yeah. That's why we said in the beginning. That's pretty much what we said. That every match, every wrestler involved in all these matches is main event talent. So there's,
Exactly.
like you said, any match could be a main event.
Exactly. And then, like Prince Devitt, you need to see that, when you see Finn Balor, you see how intense he is. He wants to be the top guy again. He knows he has the ability. He knows he has the skill. He knows he was there before already.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants that back. He wants that recognition. He wants, like, in a few words, if you want to paraphrase Champa, he wants his life back.
Yeah, exactly. And like
He wants to be meaningful again.
yeah, and
So
just the intensity and everything with his character, it's so much better. And like I said, that's why he's the hot hand. You got to keep going with Finn Balor. You can't stifle his momentum and have him lose.
exactly, you
And I
just
just
can't do it.
yeah, and
You can't
I
do it.
just love the it's a minor detail, but I just love it how the coup de grace, he doesn't use that to finish people anymore. He doesn't, because that's a big baby face pop. He hits the coup de grace, but he slams you on your head with 1916, and it's like it's so
and,
legit.
and
Yeah,
done
and done,
and done.
and
No,
done.
and I absolutely agree. Like, even, like, those minor details are what make wrestling and storytelling important. Like you
Hmm.
said, people might say minor details, but in the end of it all, is what makes wrestling interesting, and that's why we keep watching, and we've been
Hmm.
watching for as long as we have. So hopefully, Balor gets the win. If Johnny gets the win, I will be like a little like, because, like you said, they need then Champa again, or like we've seen these matches before
Hmm.
with both, because we've seen Gargano going against Adam Cole, and we've seen Champa with Gargano. So if you go with Balor, you have fresh matchups.
Yeah,
So we'll
yeah,
see what we'll see
yeah.
what.
That's what I mean. To me, I would like it's tough to say. Like to me, I think you should Champa. I mean, yeah, I guess he deserves to get Goldie back and this and that, but put DIY back together as a tag team because NXT needs tag teams.
It could be a good idea, but if
And then
you
the
did
main
it
event,
for
yeah,
Worlds Collide, so it
yeah,
could be a thing that you could actually go along with it for like a little
yeah.
bit.
Because that's why, like, I see Gargano because it's like I don't want to see him in the North American Championship title because you have guys like Damian Priest,
Killian
Dijakovic,
Dane,
yeah,
Killian
Killian
Dane,
Dane. You have them. They're the ones who,
Cameron Grimes,
yeah,
Bronson Reed.
yeah. So they're the ones who are in that. I mean, Jordy Gargano, he did wrestle Cameron Grimes, but and that's what I mean. It's just hard to say because there's so much talent, but like,
Yes, it is. So now let's turn the page and let's move to now title matches. And then we're gonna start with something that you love, something that you get really excited about, and is your boys, the Broserweights.
bruh.
Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne going against Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish in the Undisputed
How
Era.
much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish?
There you go. And then you NXT Tag Team Championship on the line. What a great match. How this match, is happening because Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne won the Dusty Classic, something that we covered from the beginning to the end, and pretty deservedly, I will say they deserve to win it. They were a
Hmm.
brand new tag team, but both two guys are main event talents. So when you put them together, it's just simply magic. It's magical, and I'm pretty sure that, like, if the prophecy is not gonna be real, or the prophecy is not gonna be start breaking itself,
Oh yeah, the
Matt
undisputed
Riddle and Pete
era.
Dunne will
Yeah,
get the titles.
yeah. To me, they're done. It's one of those things. Like I always say, you can smell it. This is one you can. This is one. This is rotten. You could smell this a mile away. They are losing because there's no way. Like there's just no way. It's one of them. It's so predictable. It's like Roman Reigns winning the Elimination Chamber. Like you just know it's gonna happen. You just it is what it is. You just got to accept it. All the undisputed era fans. Hey, they had their multiple title reigns. I think they're the only three-time tag champs.
Yeah,
So they have the records. They're deserving of it. They're deserving of a fourth title reign, but their time is done now. Like John Cena says, your time is up. My time is now. So it's the Broserweights because what do they win the Dusty Classic for if they don't win here?
yeah,
They look like losers. Like, come on, they got to win this. So I mean, but like you said, it's going to be a hell of a match. There's no way. There was a match with Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews versus the Broserweights. This will be and to me that was the best match of the Dusty Classic, and I think this match will be just as good, if not better.
yeah. When we've seen this already, teams fighting or before and everything, but we know there's gonna be good tag team action.
Hmm.
And like you said, the first crack in the Undisputed Era prophecy and the Undisputed Era concept, or
Hmm.
like, it was Roderick Strong losing to Keith Lee the North American Championship. So
Mhm.
that's the first crack. And the second crack is going to be the tag titles. Because then the only one left with gold will be Adam Cole. So when NXT Takeover Portland is all said and done, in the end, the Undisputed Era might not even have any goal anymore.
Yeah.
They will just be regular people.
Hmm.
And that will be probably the beginning of the end of the Undisputed Era. Maybe they're going to go to the main roster. You can say, hey, the prophecy for us is like we're over on NXT,
Hmm.
and now the prophecy calls us to like start getting
Yeah.
gold
The
in the
only
main
thing that's
roster.
bullshit with that is I could totally see like the Undisputed Era going to SmackDown and but Roderick Strong goes to Raw. I
Yeah, they
could
will
totally
split him up.
and that is like that's so bullshit. And even them going to what are you going to do on SmackDown? Feud with Roman and lose? It'll
Yeah,
be the three of them versus Roman and the Usos.
yeah. No, and of course they will
That's
lose all the
literally
time.
what they'll do. Their first feud will be against Dolph Ziggler, Rude, and Corbin, and they'll beat them, and then they'll move on to the Usos and Roman and lose.
And
And it's
lose.
like okay.
So and of course their character will be damaged. They will
Hmm.
be tarnished, and they will become what?
Yeah. So to me,
Generic,
yeah.
simple guys, and all the
So
aura
yeah,
that they bring.
I'll get into it when we get to the main event match. But I have a theory of what I think is going to happen with Cole. I mean, it's not even really a theory. I could see Cole retaining because I don't think that because it's like I mean, I think Ciampa will maybe win at the next show, or maybe Ciampa will be out of the title picture for a while. I don't know, but I feel like you said if they take all the belts off them, then that's just Vince going all right, and then he takes them.
Yeah. So
So yeah.
and then John Paul, your prediction. You're saying Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, Broserweights.
Yeah, I gotta go with them because it's one of like the tag belts. Like I said, they need to get off them because there was no other teams. They were fusing with the who is it the Forgotten Sons. There was no real tag teams in NXT. They all got
Breezango,
yeah yeah
Fandango Danger.
yeah they all got called up or they all got split up. Because it was who it was the War Raiders and Aleister Black and Ricochet. You called them up. The Street Profits. You called them up. There was no tag teams. So then
Yeah,
it was like, but now you have this tag team because they're not any singles role. So you put them together, and it's like now this is a legit tag team. The Undisputed Era can finally relinquish the belts. So that's who I'm going with.
and actually they can build this division around Pete Dunne and Matt
Yeah.
Riddle, and that is something really cool that you could start doing.
Hmm.
So it makes total sense. Also, attention to detail. You will not do all those comedy skits for no reason.
Oh yeah, that's like they gotta win because and also like you wouldn't even have them win the Dusty Classic. Like if you were gonna do something like that, like the team wins and it doesn't even, it would be something where like these guys hated each other, but they still won the Dusty Cup and you could see some dissension. Then
Exactly.
they would make sense, but they get along, they gel, and they always say, oh, they've only been together for a couple weeks and they're like a team. You could have said they were together for 10 years and we couldn't tell the difference
Exactly.
because they gel
And that's when
together.
you're really good. When you have that, when you're that skillful, and
Hmm.
you meet somebody that has a lot of the same skill as you have, you just gel.
Yeah, and they have that
And
chemistry together, and that's what I mean. So like,
and the
I,
skins are
yeah,
bringing it back, like because it's more. It's not only the skill now. It's more like, hey, these guys actually can have fun with each other.
mm,
So that's the cool part. So for me, it's also Broserweights. That's the only reason they need to be the new tag team champions, all because that they can start rebuilding around these guys. So now, Mr. Leek, another match that like is very exciting to see. Something that we've been following because all the weeks that we've been doing NXT and everything. NXT North American Championship, passing his glory. Keith Lee going against another guy that we think that is absolutely outstanding and a great athlete, Dominic Dijakovic. Your thoughts on that?
I mean this, like I said, the street fight's gonna be legit. My boy Balor and Johnny Wrestling is gonna be legit. The tag team match legit, but holy, this
Holy
match.
bazookas!
Yeah, exactly. This match. I mean, all of them. This is so loaded. Like, but this is probably gonna be my favorite. I think when it's all said and done because I love Keith Lee. Like I said, if you watch the channel, you know that. Dijakovic, man, he is right there. And I love that promo. Like Mark Henry, he was hyping up this match. That made me even more hyped for it than I already was. And just, with the thing with Dijakovic the other week, I think was it Killian Dane?
Yeah,
Or who was that who got in his face and he's just like, oh, do you want to fight and whatever? He's like, are you in my way? And then like,
Priest.
Yeah, yeah, Priest, and he's like,
Priest.
now you're in my way. So he's like, yeah, we do have a problem. So it's like all like Dijakovic, he's starting to talk a little more, and he's starting to. I mean, no, I'm not saying he's he's not a great on the mic. He's not like amazing at promo work, but at least we're hearing him talk more, and there's getting a little more promo work, and he's coming into his own as a character, and just everything that they do in the ring is so good. And we haven't seen it for a while. They had that back and forth on NXT for a while, but that was a couple months ago. 2 months ago. So we haven't seen it. I'm sure these guys are going to come out with a whole new crazy, moves. And these Spanish flies off the top rope, and it's like 600 pounds flying through the air with both these guys. So it is like just everything they do is so amazing. But for the pick, there's no way that Keith Lee drops this. As good as Dijakovic is, and his time will come. I could see him being a guy who he never wins a North American Championship, but he wins the main title.
Yeah.
I could see him being one of those, like, hey, I had my chance. I didn't win it. He could win a Battle Royal or number one contenders match for, Finn Balor or Ciampa, whoever the champion might be at the time, and then beat them. That would be a match too, because the crowd is so behind him. But I think, there's no way Keith Lee's going to, have the title for 2-3 weeks and lose it.
No,
So
yeah.
I think Keith Lee's going to retain, but this will be a hell of a match.
Yep. Well, now mention everything that you just I'm just gonna digest every single thing that you've said, and it brings me back to the Attitude Era. Why am I mentioning the Attitude Era? Because every single match during those pay-per-views made sense, and every single title has its own importance, aside from the importance of the other titles. And see, Keith Lee being the North American champion and Dijakovic, the two performers that are, like you said, skillful, absolutely great in the ring, giants that they do moves that the cruiserweights do. It just adds an extra plus when it comes to these things. Why? Because see, the fact that those two are feuding for that title, it makes the title look great. It makes the title look amazing. We don't see matchups like we see in the main roster, like these two guys for the cruiser, for let's say the United States Championship. Humberto against Angel Garza is awesome. Do we think the same about Humberto Carrillo? No. See,
No, and you could even I don't know the last time he defended it besides Braun Strowman, which I don't want to think about that match, but when has Nakamura put on a match with an IC title match that'll be as good as this? None.
Yeah.
Because they don't treat it's not a mid-card title to them. Like, they don't look at the North American Championship as like, oh, the main belt's up here and then the North American is down here. They treat them equal. I mean, obviously the main title is always in the main event, but besides that, they don't treat the North American Championship any less.
And they see gold for what it is, gold.
Yep.
So, like you said, the video package that they always do, WWE is absolutely the best company when it comes to video packages. When it comes to hype you up, when they want to do it, they do. Because, WWE has that duality that when they want to crush your dreams, also they love to do that. But when they want to pump you up,
every Friday from 8 to 10.
If you don't believe us, watch every Friday night. Don't watch the show. Watch the review, because you can see how bummed out. We don't even want to do it. Yep. But we still do it for the love that we have for every single one of you. But aside that, so bring it back to Keith Lee. The guy is absolutely great. He's the next big star of the company. Great showing at Survivor Series. Great showing at War Games. And it was logical. That's the thing. When you're that good, and I will go with this phrase that they told me years ago. Somebody, I will not mention who did it, but he said, you got to make yourself the obvious choice. Keith Lee's the obvious choice. Everybody that turns around and sees this guy is massive when it comes, and I'm not saying weight, but I'm just saying skill, and also generating that relationship with the crowd.
Oh yeah, they love it. Yeah, they love it. And also, and I want to ask you this question, because if you would have asked me a couple weeks ago before he won the title, I thought that this match would be at War Games, the Roderick Strong versus Keith Lee. Now they did Dijakovic versus Keith Lee, and I feel like I'm going to enjoy this match more than the Roderick Strong versus Keith Lee.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I feel that these two guys they are able to produce great matches already. We've seen that they can produce great matches.
Yeah, because nothing against Roderick. Yeah, nothing against Roderick Strong. He's a hell of a wrestler too. If you want a 4 or 5-star match, book him because he'll deliver. But I like Dijakovic more. I like him more. So, and it's like I said, nothing against Strong, but I think Dijakovic is more exciting.
And that's the one thing, for example, how they did this, thinking, hey, the Dream is coming back. we're not going to waste his return on TakeOver because the card's already stopped. So you got to think already like, hey, we have a show on Wednesday, and we don't have the same situation that we did 2 years ago or like a year ago, that like this next show after a TakeOver was just repackages.
Mm-hmm.
Or just hyping championships, hyping whatever
Yeah, because they
outcome.
don't. Yeah, because they don't want to lose in the ratings that bad.
No,
They gotta come
now
out
you
all
just
guns
gotta keep
blazing.
going. It's like us, when we do a hell of a show like we have. If you don't believe us, check. We have everything. So please, Monday Night Raw, AEW, NXT, Smackdown. Great interview with Cha Cha Charlie a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta come up with something different. We can just give you like recyclables of our shows. So it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think that like we're like, okay, we have Dijakovic and Kid Lee. Let's put on a great show here, and then we save the Dream and Roderick Strong for NXT on Wednesday, so people are still engaged in it. The levels of engagement, that's what you got to do. So when it comes to this, I agree with you. Also, Kid Lee has to retain.
Mm-hmm.
Dijakovic, his time, I feel he can be the next NXT champion, like you said. Maybe he can win the North American Championship later on, but Dijakovic is a work in progress. And for example, like he's getting more promo time, he's learning how to cut better promos, and that's the only way to get better at something.
Yeah, and I could also, who knows? You could have somebody like a Keith Lee, or not Keith Lee. Yeah, no shit, he's the champion now.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Killian Dane, Damian Priest. You could have one of these heels somehow, beat Keith Lee, or Keith Lee. Who's not to say he doesn't get called up soon? And I mean, he could do the job for someone before he goes, or he could pull the Asuka. I think Asuka was actually injured though, but he could pull the Asuka and be like, "I'm getting called up. Nobody beat me. Here you go, Triple H. Here's the title." And then you could do something like that, where you could have Damian Priest. You could have like a triple threat, and maybe Killian Dane wins it, and then he's the champion for a while. Then you could have Killian Dane versus Dijakovic, and that's how he wins it. There's so many things you could do, but like you said, it's way too early. And this to me is really the only predictable match besides the women's championship match on this show. And the women's championship isn't even as predictable because then you have the variable of Charlotte Flair interfering. Exactly. So to me, this is really the most predictable match on the show.
Yeah, well, yeah, just because how soon is like how what Kid Lee just gained became champion.
Because you could have had Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream on this show, and you could have left Keith Lee off.
Yeah,
because of how soon he won it. It's like, why should he have to defend it right away?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a match that, like you said, you could exchange Roderick Strong and the Velveteen Dream coming back for any of the matches besides Gargano and Balor and Colin Ciampa. But the other ones could easily be exchangeable because of the level of intensity, level of people engagement, and also just because the rivalry set calls for a takeover. But in this case, Keith Lee retains for me. You said the same thing. It's going to be probably another hell of a match. So now that you mentioned the NXT Women's Championship match, let's go talk about it. Bianca Belair against Rhea Ripley. Great rivalry. I feel that like the addition of Charlotte Flair has kind of like gotten a little bit of the intensity for me, just because like a lot of people are saying, well, she's scheduled to be in Portland. For everybody that wants to know, for our family, that we said we will give a lot of news today. She's scheduled to be in Portland.
Well, yeah, like I mean, I feel like that was obvious. Like, you knew she was going to be there. You knew she was going to cause some kind of interference, or at least I know. My thing is, I hope she's just sitting front row and that's it. Maybe they have a thing where they brawl on the outside and she stands up and woo, like how the cringy bullshit she is. Oh, I just got to ride my father's coattails, like 10,000 other women did back in the 70s and 80s. But, I don't know what, like, I don't want her to be at ringside. I don't want her to like throw a punch or hit somebody. I don't want
you don't want her to like mess up with the ending. That's what it is. You don't want her to be part of the ending. Yes.
Like how Bobby Roode, when he was sitting there and he watched Shinsuke defend the title and win it. He didn't get involved in that match. He just sat there and he's like, okay, I'll have my chance sooner or later. And then he had his chance and he beat Shinsuke. That's how you got to do it. Have him
you don't
sit
want
there.
her to get involved. I understand.
So with all that being said, the match itself will be awesome. Both of these women are talented. I like Bianca. Rhea, the only problem with her I have is she was like the female Roman Reigns. They put the rocket to her and they shot her to the moon. That still doesn't sit good with me, and it won't for a while. How they squashed 4 heels, and one of them was
women.
Yeah, and two of them were champions.
Yeah,
Kaylee Ray and freaking Shayna Baszler were champions.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And then you had Bianca and Io. Come on. Come on. My girl Io, come on. You know what I'm saying? But anyway.
Come on!
Exactly. Yeah, I should be wearing the Nakamura t-shirt, but that guy's a loser right now, so I should throw that one away. Just kidding. I would never throw my Nakamura shirt away. But anyway.
Don't do it. Don't.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like it's hard to say who's going to win only for the fact that I could see Bianca winning because like the obvious choice, people are going to be like, John Paul, what do you mean it's hard to say? The obvious choice is Rhea. But what do you want? Do you want to see Charlotte win the NXT champ? Like, what if Charlotte wins at WrestleMania? Is she going to be the NXT champion? I don't want to see that. But maybe Charlotte won't fight Rhea if there's no belt. So, like, it's hard to say. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bianca won to pull the swerve and add up. Because then it would make the story interesting. For me, anyway.
If Bianca will win it, then you could have a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Then maybe
Isaiah Swerve Scott,
maybe she tried. Yeah, but maybe Charlotte would challenge Bianca then, because I mean, to me that's not a money match. To me, it's got to be Rhea because she says how she pinned Charlotte. This whole thing going on. It's tough to say. I'm gonna go with the safe pick, and I'm gonna go with Rhea because I don't feel like they're gonna have her title reign be so short lived. So, like I said, I'm gonna go with Rhea, but I think it'll be a good match.
Yep, when you tell me about Bianca Belair, I think her stocks have increased dramatically after the Royal Rumble. Great showing that she had. She had probably one of the best performances during that Rumble. Mm-hmm. And I think that it will not be crazy to think that they will put a title on her. Are they going to do it? No. Just based on the idea that Charlotte and Rhea Ripley is going to be the marquee match. It's the money match that they have for the NXT Women's Championship at WrestleMania. But to me, I think what they're going to do is put the Isaiah and they're going to make it a triple threat. Yeah, because the story is calling for a triple threat at WrestleMania.
And the only reason I'm also thinking that they could give it to Bianca and she's not in the match at Mania is, are we going to see Adam Cole or Tommaso Ciampa, whoever is the champion? Is he going to be defending his title at WrestleMania?
Yeah, that's a different idea because they will have to be defending twice.
If he isn't, then why does Rhea get to be on WrestleMania?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like, oh, she doesn't deserve it if the men aren't there, but it's like, why does that title deserve to be on WrestleMania? Not that WrestleMania is a good show, but, we'll just go by its legacy, not by what it currently is. Why does it deserve to be on WrestleMania and none of the other NXT? Like, what if Keith Lee's still the champion? He's a better wrestler than Rhea Ripley. Why can't he be on WrestleMania?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, to me, that's why I could smell them taking the title off her, keeping it on Bianca, and then that's when you take Rhea and Charlotte, and they just go. Because who the hell's not to say that Charlotte doesn't one day just I'm on SmackDown now. See you later, Bayley, and she has the belt, and then they feud over that belt at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? They could pull some kind of stupid bullshit, or maybe Flair beats Becky. And then Becky and Shayna, they fight over nothing. They could be a match that they fight over nothing, and Flair has a belt. There's so much you could do because WWE, they don't care about continuity or respect. They do whatever they feel like.
They just swerve it whatever the way they want to.
But that's something that that's the main reason why I'm thinking that Bianca could win. And then, because I said, I could see it being a non-title match, and it just goes off of personal issues and feuds.
My whole prediction for me is if you want me to give you the whole thing, Charlotte gets involved, so Rhea retains due to disqualification. What happens after that? She's still involved in this storyline, so they're gonna make it a triple threat at WrestleMania. That because I feel that Vince is now convinced that there's money in Bianca, so. Why would I miss out on that when I can easily make it a triple threat? Knowing that so far, the Raw Women's Championship match will be Becky and Shayna. So you have a singles match, then clearly you can do the other match will be a triple threat.
Yeah,
the SmackDown one is probably going to be Bayley against Naomi.
Mm-hmm. Which I would be fine with a triple threat. I mean, I usually don't like triple threats the way WWE main roster produces them. But I'd be fine with a triple threat, but put it on whichever takeover show is going to be at WrestleMania. Don't put it on Mania.
He might. That's another swerve that they
That's
can
just do. My whole thing because WrestleMania, like I said, if that's what you're going to do, then you need to put all the NXT Championship the championships on WrestleMania. But if you do that, the show will be like 11 hours.
Yeah, yeah. So it will
And
be
it's like,
really
yeah,
long.
so that's,
So we'll see what happens. But like we already got both of our predictions. So
mhm,
now Mr. Leek is main event time.
mhm.
NXT Championship match. Adam Cole, baby, against the man that wants his life back
Psycho
in
Killer.
the body of Goldie, Tommaso Ciampa. What do you think about? I know that like this match actually, I don't think that like a lot of people are emotionally invested in this, just because like when Champa becomes like a baby face, he loses a lot to me of like what he can give, a lot of like
Mhm.
the energy, like a lot about like the demeanor and everything. To
Yeah,
me, I
yeah,
don't like Tommaso
yeah,
Ciampa as face, but as
he's
personal though.
yeah, he still has his fans. Like, there's still all the fans, the marks out there. And I'm not saying that to be mean because there's certain guys I'm a mark for. I'm a hitman mark. Some people are like, oh, Brett sucks, he's awful on the mic, and I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I still love him. So I look past that stuff, and I feel a lot of people are like that with Champa. Like you said, they're looking past his baby face flaws to be like, oh, he's a legit, baby face, he's good. But I feel the same way. He loses a little bit of that luster, and he's still doing heel tactics. He's still jumping the Undisputed Era with a steel pipe or whatever and beating him down. He's still power bombed Adam Cole through the table. So he's still doing. He's like like the rebel. Like they always, everybody.
Like they all resemble Stone Cold
Yeah,
Steve
I was
Austin
just
when
gonna
it comes
say,
to that.
ever since Stone Cold, whenever you want to do a badass heel, everybody just emulates him. He was the like the Godfather, you could say, not with the hose, but he was
Mhm.
the Godfather of, yeah, exactly. He was the Godfather of being that badass renegade babyface heel, and everybody copies it. And I think that's also why whenever somebody does it, we're kind of like, we're sour on it because we've seen it all the time. It's like do something a little different, but with all that being said, like, this match will still be legit. It'll still be great. Everybody, like I've said it before, said it in the beginning, said it in the middle. I'm going to say it here at the end. Everyone in every match is a main event talent. So this match will be great. Now it comes to my pick. That's when things get a little funny because, like I said, you could totally
Now
do
give
Finn
us all the
Balor.
news, Jean Paul.
You could
Give us all
totally
the
do.
Booker
I mean,
now.
I don't have any news. This is all just the inner workings going on up here. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go with Adam Cole. I'm gonna say that the fans go home maybe not happy, confused, this and that. I'm gonna say Adam Cole wins because I don't. There's a lot of things like if Champa wins, it's like okay, yeah, then what? What do you? And it's like you could still book storylines with Champa being the champion. Like I said, Finn Balor versus Champa is a match you could do. There's lots of people you could do. Damian Priest could just challenge him just for a throwaway feud for a couple weeks. Whatever. They'll put on great matches. But what do you do with the Undisputed Era? Triple H, he probably has like the stranglehold on them. He does not want them to go to the main roster. And I think now with AEW in the mix, there's a good chance that they'll stay on NXT because if they know
Yes.
if they call them up, their ratings will go down. Because a
Yes.
lot of people watch, not only for the Undisputed Era, but they help. They help the ratings stay where they are. They would go down if they lost them. So that's the thing why I think they'll be okay. But also they lose their luster. And like, are you really gonna kill the Undisputed Era in one night? No, I mean I hope not because like I said, they're gonna lose all their gold in one takeover, one pay per view. That would be crazy. But I feel like the tag team is the obvious choice. And also with just these emotional video packages, if Ciampa loses, it's like, oh man, it really like, it's the big swerve. It's like like Lesnar beating Undertaker at Mania. It's like nobody
Yeah.
sees it happening, but it's the shock. It's crazy. Is So I'm gonna go with the upset pick just because I feel like I didn't have really an upset pick so far. So that's my upset.
Okay. So that's you. I said that this rivalry, of course, it was inevitable for
Hmm.
it to happen. Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa. Cole retained over Gargano, so you have to go to the main baby face, so to say, or the main big name on NXT outside of Gargano, and
Hmm.
that is Ciampa. And I feel that like before we knew about Finn Balor, of course, going into like the new heel and everything, you needed Ciampa to be like that's the obvious choice once again. And I think that like the match is going to be really great. Both of them can produce good stuff. I don't think it's going to be as good as Gargano's and Cole, just
Oh,
because
I
of
don't
the
think so
moveset
either.
that they have. But in the end of it all, I think it's going to be a great match. Like you said, we've seen like the how he wants Goldie back. How is the
Mhm.
guys like I want my life back.
And the
Cole
one
is like
thing,
going to have to kill me.
yeah, the one thing I want to comment on that quick, and I don't, because I don't want to interrupt your role that you're on, but when I do love when Adam Cole was like, I'm sick of Ciampa saying that he wants his life back. He's like, what do you think that this means to me? He's like, this is my life too. And I thought that was legit because everyone's like, oh, Ciampa, get Goldie back, get his life back. It's like, yeah, Adam Cole's the heel. You're not going to have sympathy for him, but it's like, he's the NXT champion. That's his life too. He's not
Yeah,
fighting. He's not fighting out there just for a paycheck, just to, bay, bang. He's out there to, because that's his life, is being the
yeah,
NXT champion. So he has
yeah.
just as much will and desire to retain as Ciampa does to win.
So I absolutely agree. But the one thing is like they're gonna go with Champa. My pick is Champa, but then and my pick is also destroy the Undisputed Era in one night.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna like destroy
Yeah.
the thing that you've been building for 4 years just because it is time.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you gonna do it? You're gonna do it like with no pain. One single night is like all of it all.
It's like
You're gonna
ripping
go
off
all
the
the way.
Band-Aid.
Yep,
Yep,
you're
you just
gonna
got to
do
do it quick.
therapy, like they call it the therapy of shock.
Yep.
They're gonna shock the
This is,
system
yeah.
in one night, and it's
But,
gonna be like the prophecy gets
yeah.
broken, and it's not Mud Hardy.
Tell,
It's just gonna be no
yeah.
titles when it's all said and
Tell
done.
tell me this quick, because I do like that pick. But I'm gonna if you go like with my route, Adam Cole. What if you do something where Cole wins and then they disrespect my boy and Johnny Gargano wins? Gargano has the match, and I know we've seen it 1,000 times, but if Gargano wins, then you could. I mean, it's reliving an old angle, but it would get us what we want. It would get us heel Tommaso Ciampa. He could turn heel on Gargano and be like, this was my title. Why do you have to win it now? Like people aren't going to want to see me go against you. You're my friend, but I don't care. Why do you have to always step in front of me and take what is mine? And then we could get Ciampa being heel. So that's why I think they could play around with it. But I mean, like I said, the obvious choice is Ciampa. I think 99 out of 100 times Ciampa is going to win this because the story's calling for it. But
To me, though, here, John Paul, is when the swerve starts. Because he wins it, and as soon as he wins it, he gets attacked by a man that is just signed, and his name is Killer Cross. They're going to make Scarlett and Killer Cross debut
mm-hmm.
tomorrow, and he's going to attack Ciampa, and we start that feud for NXT Takeover Tampa the WrestleMania weekend. So that's my whole pick. That's why you have Ciampa. You get the emotional moment. He gets his life back, or like you
Mm-hmm.
said, he gets Goldie back. But hey, he has a new opponent. Because I don't think prolonging the feud with Adam Cole is going to do anything.
No. And that like when you said that, I mean to me that makes perfect sense. That's another thing. As soon as you said it, I can smell it now. It's coming through the fog and it makes sense because what a debut for both of them. Killer Cross is one of those guys who you need to debut him like that. You need to
Yep.
debut him in the main event and you to boom, get him right in there. It'd be a hot debut, like they same thing they did with Jeff Cobb. They didn't debut Jeff Cobb in a match against Sonny Kiss or like
Yes.
Jimmy Havoc. They boom inner circle. He hit the tour of the islands or whatever it's called on John Moxley. Done. That's how you need to debut a guy.
And that's how they view a badass.
Yeah, you're
Doing it
gonna
in
do.
what? In
Yeah,
like a badass
yep.
fashion.
You're gonna do the same thing with Killer Cross. Hopefully, he has his lovely woman Scarlett Bordeaux with him. For us to look at. But then I think, with all that being said, now the gears are turning. You're getting the wheels working. I'm like, maybe, you had the Bullet. Adam Cole was in the Bullet Club. You had Finn Balor in the club. Hey, Undisputed Era, you guys are in shambles right now. You know what you need? You need the Prince. Maybe we get the big stable like that, and then they reform it. They reform the club. The Undisputed Era becomes a club. They do something. You don't have to call it the club or whatever, but they can come up with a new name, and they could reform that. Or maybe, who knows? Maybe the swerve could be that the Broserweights lose, and that Adam Cole loses, and then the Undisputed Era could be like, dude, like you're a loser, like we don't want you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They could turn on him, and you could turn Cole babyface, and Finn Balor could then lead an Undisputed Era. So there's
that
so much stuff you could do, but it like with everything like we said, the show will be fan-freaking-tastic. There's
And
no
there you go. I agree with you. I feel that like the outcomes that they can go, the avenues that they can visit are so multiple that like it's always up to Triple H. It's up to create him like to give us more enticing storylines like they always
because
do.
because any time somebody loses, yeah, it might be my favorite. Like Angel Garza, he lost that fatal 4-way. But now looking in the future, it makes sense because, hey, they knew Andrade was suspended and they needed somebody to replace him. You're not going to have the cruiserweight champion going against Humberto because so it's like we got to take the belt off him because we
Yeah,
need him on Raw. So there's a reason behind it. And then once I know what the reason is, I'm okay with it. So if
exactly.
Adam Cole loses, as long as there's a good reason, it'll make sense. Hey, because we want to debut Killer Cross, have this, and we want him to be in a feud with the title. We didn't want to do heel versus heel. We got to do him versus Ciampa, and the storyline called for Ciampa. And if all the reasons make sense, I'm fine with it.
Exactly. So I feel that like that's all the things that are going to happen on NXT Takeover Portland. We will be reviewing our predictions with the actual results. So I think anything we want to add, Jean Paul, anything that you want to say
Nope.
besides saying that this will be freaking awesome?
Yep. No, I think by now they're sick of hearing me ramble on. They just want to,
Go back
they
to their normal
yeah.
lives. So
No,
guys, like
they're never sick of us. Who am I trying to kid? But
no, but
yeah.
and if you ever
But I
get sick
think
of us, just put it on the comments because we'll give you a remedy so you get your sickness away.
yeah,
So guys,
exactly.
before
It'll
we
be
go,
like last
please,
night, more cowbell.
yeah,
That's
there
your
you go.
sickness.
You know this. You know this family. So please, please, please don't forget to help us out growing. We want to keep, doing this for the rest of our lives. So the only thing you can do for us, and it's a very simple thing, just hit that subscribe button right there
Yeah,
and
hit
click
the
the bell
like,
for
and like I said,
notifications.
we follow us on Facebook. We always post the videos there as well. The links to them, and if you follow us on there, share the link because you never know who in your friends list is a fan of wrestling or just wants to listen to two charismatic dudes talk about wrestling. So please share the video. That it helps our reach, and that's what we're trying to do, just reach more people and grow
Yes.
the brand. And then also like. Juan has the FIFA versus Pez, that he compares the two games, legit gameplay. You see like which game is better. It's FIFA, just, hey, putting that out there. So, that's the one that you guys, share those videos too, because we're branching out into way more avenues like that.
We're gonna, wrestling, it will be our stepping stone, but like Jean Paul saying, there's more things coming to Robrick.
So that's what
Robrick
I'm,
is
so
just
yeah,
getting warmer.
yeah,
It's just getting
please.
hot.
Yeah. Yeah. So please, share the videos, share the links to the channel, subscribe, like, comment, the spiel by now, do it all. And we greatly
Comment,
appreciate
and we'll that like we are not like unlike other members in the community. We always respond to every single thing that you guys said. So I hope that all of you.
and that when you said that, I did say, I think it was an AE Dynamite review. I said like, hey, if you guys see comments, you're like, who is this random guy? I said that's your shoot account.
Yeah.
I said that's Juan's, that's his regular account. So if you see this person comment and you're like, who is this random guy replying to every comment? It's
And
us.
that happens to be me because of course I gotta be on like regular clothes when I
Uh-huh.
do the responses and
Yeah, yeah.
everything. I gotta be not this guy that you see on every single video. But guys, I want to say thank you for watching one more time and enjoy the show because it's gonna be great. And right after the show is over, you'll see the results and comparisons for Jean Paul and myself. Taking the whole show, talking about it, we're gonna be excited because it's gonna be a great show. So, in the name of Jean Paul and myself, we want to say enjoy the weekend, get ready for Takeover Portland, and we also want to say...